Can you beat Chapter 12 in Age of Mythology without using the Guardian? In Age of Mythology's campaign, there are some chapters that require us to make use of an ultra-powerful unit to complete them. Chapter 13, A Light Sleeper, is one of those chapters. In it, we are tasked with pushing through Kemsyt's defenses to deliver the swordbearers, sword, to the Guardian so it can aid us against Kemsyt's larger army that is slowly making their way back to their home base. The Guardian is one of the strongest units in the game and can easily defeat the entirety of Kemsyt's army by itself. So what would happen if we decided to ignore the Guardian altogether and took on Kemsyt's army on our own? Hey everyone, Gary here, and today we are answering the question that has plagued humanity for ages. Can you beat Age of Mythology's Chapter 13 Light Sleeper without making use of the Guardian? The rules for this challenge are simple. Don't make use of the Guardian throughout the chapter. It's not allowed to attack anybody or anything like that. And play the chapter or level, whatever you want to call it, on the hardest difficulty, which is Titan. With that out of the way, let's begin. So to start this chapter off, we move the swordbearers to the top of this map. They can't fight, and we lose if they expire, so it's better just to leave them here out of harm's way. Next, we save a handful of villagers who are being forced to gather resources for Kemsyt. Since we are doing this on the Titan difficulty, there are quite a few enemies, so instead of attacking them all at once, we take our time and try to only get the attention of a few at a time. Once we manage to take them all out, we make our way to the village, leaving the villagers behind so they don't get mummified by the mummies that we have to take out on our way there. Make sure, after you defeat the initial wave of mummies, you hang around as another spawns shortly after and can be bad news for your villagers. Once the path is clear, we send our villagers to the village, which then becomes our village, and we prepare for Kemsyt's army. There are 3 villages between Kemsyt's larger army and the Guardian. The plan is to make our stand in the 3rd village. This will let me make use of the 3rd village's defenses, as well as the handful of units they already have built. If I build a wall, some towers, and have a ton of ranged units, his army shouldn't stand a chance. Once Kemsyt's army destroys the 2nd village, I will make my move. We mostly want to protect our village and not move forward to attack Kemsyt's base that is between our village and the Guardian. To put it frankly, we can't take that on and his big army at the same time. In the meantime, we will slowly be building our economy and army in our village, repelling the small groups of enemies that are sent to our village. This takes up the majority of our time in the game, and not a lot else happens, so let's fast forward ahead to the fight in the 3rd village. Okay, wait, pause real quick. As I was looking over the footage, I noticed this when selecting anything that is classified as Mother Nature. It says, do not select. I've been playing this game since I was a little kid, and I never noticed that. Has that always been there? Let me know in the comments down below because I have never seen that. When the time comes, we use the Shifting Sands God power to transport our army over to the 3rd village. Immediately, we build a wall and begin to set up our defenses. Shortly after I transfer our units to the village, our village gets attacked. I completely blanked on defending our village and only ended up leaving a few units there to keep it safe. Thankfully, everything ended up okay, but I was a bit worried there for a few minutes. Kemsyt's army arrives, and things are going well when... Oh no! What? So I thought that the tree was blocking the enemy's access into the village. It was not. I even saw my villager use that exact path earlier and assumed that the other units would be too big. And I was kind of right. The elephants were too big. The Avengers were not. I made a few attempts to salvage this run, but once they got through that wall and started killing all of my units, there wasn't a whole lot I could do, so I decided to cut my losses and try again. We make our way back to the 3rd village and begin building our defenses once more. As I'm building, I noticed that both Arkantos and Ajax ended up with this team. They weren't supposed to, they were supposed to be defending the main village, but they must have gotten mixed up during one of the fights in our village. Ah well, I guess they're here for the fun now. I ended up building a 2nd wall halfway across to protect that lumber camp that I stupidly built my 1st wall around, and as a result, I ended up trapping a villager inside. Oops. I also may not have taken into consideration that we need space for our units to stand when building our defenses. The gong sounds, and Kemsyt's army arrives. It's a massacre. His army has no defense to our hail of arrows, rocks, and whatever our priests attack him with. Holy rocks? The 3rd village is saved. That was surprisingly easy, but our job isn't done yet. We need to take out the army that is currently sitting in Kemsyt's base, along with all the buildings that make up that base, which shouldn't be too difficult. The assault on the base begins, and after sending a few waves, we easily overpower his remaining forces with our army. I look around trying to hunt down any stragglers, and there's still nothing. Maybe we have to activate the Guardian to win. Well, we grab our swordbearers and check to see if that's what we need to do, and sure enough, that was it. So to answer the question, can you beat Chapter 13 Light Sleeper without using the Guardian? The answer is yes. In fact, quite easily. I'm actually pretty disappointed in this. I thought this was going to be more of a challenge. Kemsyt's army always looked so intimidating to me as a kid, but they were pretty easy to take down. I'm not even sure I would call this a challenge at all, but it was fun to attempt this chapter in a way that I had never done it before. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed content like this and would like to see more, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It helps out the channel and my motivation so much. With all that out of the way, I hope to see you in the next video. Have a good one.